Hello everyone! This is Running on Empty Food Review. Well, hello ladies, gentlemen, and everyone watching. Welcome one and all to this newest edition of the Running on Empty Food Review series. I'm your host, the Report of the Week. It's always a pleasure to be here. Well, I guess I'll start this off with a question. This is going to be so much of a review as it's also going to be my thoughts on this, and again, a question to all of you. And my question is essentially this. What happened? Success versus failure. There is going to be a degree of subjectivity to that, I understand. Sometimes there are instances where you could look at something, you could very clearly see it's an enormous success. Or you can look at something and you could say, this is a staggering failure. Then there are sometimes those instances where it's like, well, what do you really qualify as one or the other? This release from McDonald's, on the other hand, I don't know. One metric I should say, that I usually use to try to gauge how successful the release is when it comes down to the world of fast food is the amount of interest. And obviously a lot of companies use that too, because obviously they want interest in their item. They want to make profit from it, of course, right? That makes total sense. And that will dictate, of course, a level of success. Generally speaking, McDonald's, they're fine when it comes down to interest. Item after item, release after release, even these unoriginal, uninspired, boring, repackaged releases that there's nothing special to it. It's just a burger that, some famous singer happened to endorse, right? Those get the interest, get people talking. People will go out, oh, I want to get this meal, I want to get that meal, etc. So generally speaking, McDonald's, it's just one big hit after the next, after the next, after the next. Even if it's, again, no originality, no branding, no packaging, nothing, but it still gets people talking. And then this release came along. It was released a week ago. Right off the bat, I could already tell, there's something about this, but what is it exactly? McDonald's said, we are going to be teaming up and doing a sort of international release. Okay, it sounds pretty cool, right? So what is it going to be exactly? We are going to be releasing a savory chili WcDonald's sauce, and that's with a W, WcDonald's instead of McDonald's. And I suppose it's supposed to be themed off of, I believe, and I may be incorrect here, I believe it's supposed to be themed from a Japanese manga. And again, it's supposed to have this sort of savory chili flavor, dipping sauce. And they went all out. They went with special branding, special packaging. I got the sauce, I'm going to be reviewing it, and it might be a good product. But you know what? You know how much interest there has been in this release, despite the branding, which is quite frankly better than half of the celebrity meals they've been pumping out for years. You know how much interest there has been, and I was looking at this very carefully. Almost none. Almost no interest whatsoever in this sauce. People couldn't care less. And what I see online, as far as any sorts of discourse and talk on various forums, on various videos, you name it, people just kind of think, McDonald's? All right. And that's it. There is no care, no motivation whatsoever to go out and get this, no desire to. What went wrong? That's the question that I have. This is probably the first McDonald's release I have seen that has gotten such low interest amongst the public. I mean, we could all talk about the news cycle all we want, but a lot of the time when McDonald's releases a new item, it's actually talked about on major media networks. Oh, McDonald's is releasing, this meal or that meal or this sauce or that sauce. There's none of that with this. There's no interest. I almost got no requests for this also, which is a rarity. But McDonald's was treating this like a full-blown release. again, they went out with the branding, special packaging, special ad campaigns. I think they even released their own, I think, anime for this. But it seems like no matter what they do, they just can't get people interested. So, why do you think that is? Why do you think that this item is just struggling so much when they could just release a hamburger and say, oh, this famous rapper eats that 5 times a day, and there's not even any sort of special packaging or anything, and everyone will just go and get it. So, what do you think happened with this? Do you think it's actually the item itself? Do you think the idea is just uninspiring? Or do you think it's a problem with McDonald's? Do you think that a lot of people are just starting to sort of sour on McDonald's, for lack of a better word, and are kind of thinking, yeah, I've just had it with them, so I don't care what they release, I'm done with them, and that's that. Very curious as to your thoughts, because this is, to me, an anomaly. It does not match what I have been seeing as far as other McDonald's releases are concerned. I'm curious what you think. You could leave a comment if you'd like. I'm going to be checking them. I'm really interested in seeing what your 2 cents are. But why do you think that is? What's so different about this? And what's causing the reaction or perhaps lack thereof? Now, nonetheless, those are the facts. That's where things stand. If it's a good item, it's still a good item. I'm not going into this hating on it or anything like that. This is just something that I observed and found interesting and wanted to introduce the video with that. But anyway, it's a dipping sauce. It is supposed to be a savory chili sauce. I think it has elements of garlic, ginger, and then little chili flakes for some spice in it. And you could either get it just as the sauce by itself at the price of around, I think, 50 cents, or of course you could add it in addition to, let's say, fries or nuggets. I decided to get some nuggets and fries just to sample it with, but again, it's called the WcDonald sauce with a W. And there's the packaging. And I mean, look at this. I actually went through some genuine effort here for the bag. They really did. Probably the most effort I've honestly seen in the design of a bag in a while, anyway. It's just interesting how it is. And here is what it looks like. Right there. And now what I'm going to do is open up the sauce. You can get a better view. And now what I'm going to do is just quickly try it out. Popular or not, I want to know if it's good, and let's find out. So I'll just dip it with the fries, and I'll try it with a nugget, and that'll be that. The McDonald's sauce from McDonald's going in. Now, I was thinking about this. It's like, even when it comes down to sauces, like some people might say, and I could understand why, they might say, well, duh, it's just because it's a sauce. I would say, that sort of makes sense, but years ago, they released the Szechuan sauce. My God, you should have seen the amount of interest. There were people camped out in front of some McDonald's just waiting for this. So that took off, no problem. Everyone was flocking there for the Szechuan sauce, but not the poor McDonald's sauce. Actually, now I'll try it out with a nugget. And even last year, they released... I know they had the Mambo sauce, I think it was, and there was another sauce that they released with it, and I forget the name of that one. People were interested in that, too. So then I think, is it even a problem with the sauce itself? Or the branding, or is it a problem with the chain? You know, do people just not care about McDonald's anymore? That might be the case. And then by extension, would that be the death of fast food as we know it? Would I just have to hang it all up and just start reviewing typewriters instead? Because I will do that if needed. Very interested, though. Any thoughts you have on this, share 'em. Go for it. So after all that hemming and hawing about the sauce, what can I say about it as far as what it tastes like? My quick assessment of it, it's not bad, but it might not be everyone's cup of tea either. And here's what I mean by that. I think the sauce is it's gonna take some people by surprise. By that I mean, if you see the description of it, you're going to think, oh, a savory chili sauce. When you try this out, there are two notes from this sauce that I notice immediately. What hits me first, and the sauce, I should say, has, I would describe it texturally speaking, a thicker texture. It's not runny, it's not watery. I could say that with confidence. What I notice immediately is a very strong note of ginger, and that in and of itself is totally fine. No issues with that at all. And it actually goes quite nicely with the chicken McNuggets especially. It's fine with the fries too, but I find the pairing to be most suitable for the chicken McNuggets. But then what comes after that is a very noticeable spice. Now that's obviously from the chili flakes that was explicitly mentioned, but the one note that I think was sort of downplayed in the introduction of this sauce, in the formal description that they advertised this as being, was the spice. Savory, it's going to be savory. No, this is much more spicy than it is savory. As a matter of fact, this sauce is probably more spicy than half the sauces that claim to be spicy, if that makes any sense. Because you go in, it's the ghost pepper this, and the Carolina Reaper that, and this, that, or the other thing. This, on the other hand, it's a savory sauce. No, this is a spicy sauce. This is much spicier than you may initially expect. As a matter of fact, I still have a spicy aftertaste. My tongue is actually tingling a little bit from the spice in this sauce. It works with the fries, but it complements the chicken McNuggets, I believe, far better. So that's the one thing. It's pleasant tasting, don't get me wrong. Pleasant tasting, works very nicely with the chicken. However, it is a much spicier sauce than you are led to believe it to be. And take that into account. You go into this thinking it's just going to be some savory sauce. You're going to be thinking, whoa, I didn't expect that. And it might even be a little overwhelming for some folks. So that's why I want to emphasize with this sauce in particular, that spice is there. It is evident, it is prominent, it is persistent. You're going to notice it. It's not going to hit you immediately. You're going to notice that ginger first. But then, once it starts spreading into your mouth, then you notice the spice, and it hits you. And it lasts. It lasts, it persists, and again, the spice is still there. Now, this isn't going to be the hottest sauce you've ever tried. I'm just saying this is unexpectedly spicy. That's what I'm trying to get at. And it's going to be lasting. A very lasting, spicy aftertaste that, again, still, as I'm doing this delivery, is still there. Unimpeded by time. Of course, water, but that's sort of to be expected. And it's definitely a spicy sauce. So, still something to try. Still, it's a unique sauce, I'll give them that. And personally, I would recommend getting this with nuggets. That's my recommendation. Fries, it's okay with, but I'd say get it with the chicken McNuggets. I think it pairs quite nicely with that. So if this sounds like it's something of interest, maybe just try it out. Get a 4-piece chicken McNugget or a 6-piece. Always add the sauce, of course. And that I think would be the most suitable pairing, if you ask me. So, therefore, out of 10, what am I going to be giving the McDonald's sauce? It's not for everyone, a little unexpectedly spicy, but it works nicely with the chicken McNuggets. I like the branding, I really do. I like that they went all out with that. That's nice. I want to see more of that, quite frankly. But it's a shame, it just somehow missed the mark. And I'll be curious as to why that is. But nonetheless, personally, I'm happy with it, and therefore, I'm going to be giving the McDonald's sauce from McDonald's. Not the greatest, not the worst, though, by any means. It's a 7 out of 10 sauce. Certainly fine for what it is, and especially if you want a little bit of spice, give it a shot. If not, maybe pass it up, but it's not crazy or anything, but if it's of interest, get it while it's here. And that's all that I have for you. Hope you enjoyed this little combination of some extra talk along with a little bit of reviewing, too. That's all that I have for now. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm your host, The Report of the Week.